Emily, what do I say about this engine? And about her character? In the Maul series, I hate her. I absolutely just despise Emily. She has no point in the Maul series. However, in the Brenner era, only the Brenner era, I like Emily. She's better. Now, Emily is special in my collection, not because I think she's my favorite, or because I think she's the prettiest. It's because she was the first one I did this to. Emily is the first engine I gave an accurate wheel base to. This Maul is the very first one. Now, she looks a lot different now than she did. But the heck that I just made her longer by using two Emilys. But now, I've cleared her running board, given her proper wheel arches like she does in real life, and not that stupid back one. Give her a smaller boiler, kept her open cab, give her a brown running board all the way. And yeah, that's all I can really say about Emily. She is the main reason that all my engines are how they are, which is funny because I hated her character for most of my life. She's always seemed a bitchy character. I know, I shouldn't say that, but I've never liked her. She's always complaining, she's causing problems. I didn't like that. Another thing that's always bothered me about Emily is her arrival. I love the Sterling... I don't love them, but I like the Sterling singles. They're beautiful engine class, but introducing her into Season 7? I don't get it. I'm sorry, I just don't get it. Why would they introduce her? I always thought Emily would work better as an Atlantic, because at least those were around in British Railway days. These were replaced during the Big Four. I hated that Emily showed up to Sodor alongside Salty, Murdoch, and Arthur, and Harvey. Harvey, I can understand any error. He's a crane engine. Makes sense to get him in. But Emily, I don't get her. I don't know why they would bring in a single. They brought her in when they brought in Murdoch, a 10 drive wheel engine, and it's Salty a diesel. Emily should have been an Atlantic. For me, that would have made much more sense, but no. She was an Atlantic when she came in. I mean, she's older than all the other engines. Maybe not Edward, but I just don't get it. So I've never really liked Emily. I love the single. For me, Emily isn't owned by the Northwestern, hence why the GNR is on her tender. Emily is owned by the National Railway Museum. She's not number 1, as I have a 12 on her. I'd always planned on Emily being owned, but she was originally the number 2 for me. But when Bwubba, as Unlucky Tug puts it, Bwubba. Anyways, when that came out, they made Emily 12, and I'm like, I can work with it. So I put a 12 on Emily. My thing is, she was the one who made the speed record for her class. So she was preserved alongside number 1. As you can see, I have replaced Emily's funnel with an actual funnel that makes sense. I hate the funnel the wooden railway Emily comes with. It's just ugly. I've hated it. Emily also has, not coal, but it's a speedy dry. You can buy it pretty cheap in a huge bag. It's for absorbing oil spills and water. I glued it on, painted it black, and it looks like a real coal. You can see the little build plate. I have it on both sides. These I had to trace out with the old piece Emily had. I got rid of the extra block here because it made no sense. I didn't like that. And that's really all I can say. I hated her in the Maul series. I liked her in the Brenner era, but that's really it. But the main reason Emily was the first one I did is because I didn't mind messing up her Maul. I didn't care if Emily got ruined, and I didn't ruin her. So I'm like, okay, let me do James. And then I did James, and then I did Henry and Edward, Gordon, Oliver. So yeah, Emily is the reason my customs are so unique with the wheel arrangements. Because she is the reason I am where I am. And for me, that kind of makes up for how her character was written. Because now she's more important. TR2000, signing off.